I have a dream, oh, I have a dream. Red, white, and blue, fly free, fly free. I believe, oh, I believe. Will you dream with me?
Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to Changing Times. It is Wednesday, September the 14th. What a beautiful day in Southwest Missouri. I'm hoping it'll get more like fall. We've had a couple of beautiful fall days, and now it's getting more like summer again. But we are live at the Axe Media Group in Springfield, Missouri, and I'm Lynn Morris.
And I'm Don Blackard.
And I tell you what, guys, we have a great show today. Got two extremely important people in the Ozark school system. We're going to be introducing them. And I want everyone to take a pencil and paper. There's going to be some information that's going to be given out today about our educational system. And, you know, I know, and everyone out there knows, that there's always negative talk about the education system. And some of that could be warranted. Who knows? But here's what I do know. There's a lot of positive, really innovative, great things going on in public education. And I believe that public education is the backbone of our country. That's why we can't fail, guys. We cannot fail our kids today, because if we want the future leaders to take care and replace old guys like me, we have got to make sure that we teach adequately the students for tomorrow. And I'm telling you, I think you guys are doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our two special guests. I've known both of them Craig for quite a long time. And Jeremy, I've known you for a while too. I've been kind of following you and what you do and stuff like that. But across from me is Dr. Craig Carson, and he is Assistant Superintendent of Learning. I think, is there two assistant superintendents over there?
There are three.
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 Oh, three.
One
Okay.
of business operations, one of learning.
Okay, so it's a big school system. How many students do you have?
We're right at 6,000. With preschool, we'd be over that.
Wow. So it's a big school system, and obviously extremely important school system. And then you've been with Ozark 11 years. That's a long time, but you've also been in public education for 27 years.
Yes, sir.
And you're still a young man, so that's a pretty amazing feat right there.
Been around the block a few times.
Yeah, so good deal. And then to my right, on my side, is Dr. Jeremy Brownfield, and he's the Ozark High School principal. So thanks for being here and doing that. And you've done that for 6 years as the principal. That's a pretty intense job too.
It is, but you know, I was telling Dr. Carson on the way up here, there is no other position in education I would rather have. And in Ozark, in Southwest Missouri, it's a fantastic spot to be.
Well, I think it's extremely important. And you've been in public education 16 years. So we've got leaders that have really been around the block several times and knows what they're doing. And so what I wanted people to know today, we're going to be talking, and you're going to be listening and seeing a very innovative system that in Missouri, there's just a handful of other schools doing something similar. In the country, throughout the 50 states, there are very few schools doing this. But if you are a parent or a grandparent or a teacher or any person that's involved in education or interested in education, pay attention to what these gentlemen are saying today, because you may want to have this type of educational system in your hometown. And one of the things that Don and I do is we talk about social issues. Mm-hmm. This is what the whole show was about when we developed this show over a year and a half ago. And you know, what better social issue than public education? I mean, we've already talked about the importance of it. And so what we're doing today is we're having a discussion, real discussion. That's what we talk about on our show. And then we also have real solutions, because Don and I never do a show unless we have positive solutions. We always tell people, if you want negativity, watch TV, listen to the radio, read the newspaper. You can see a lot of negative articles, lots of negative things going on. I do believe, and Don believes, that there's a lot of positive things going on in our communities and in our state and our country. And so that's what we tend to gravitate toward. But so I'm just going to throw this out to kind of get this started. So the Ozark school system, you all have started a new system that just started this school year. And it's really a combination of traditional learning and teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So the best parts of that. So you kind of handpicked the things that are the most important for those students and the most that's going to get the most bang for the buck on these kids' education. And then you've combined it with all this innovative stuff. First of all, you have an innovation center.
Mm-hmm.
How big is that center?
So the Innovation Center opened a few weeks ago, and it's roughly, the whole building is 177,000 square feet.
Wow.
As far as actual classroom learning space, we're about 166,000.
Think about that, guys out there. So not very many high schools have a building that large. And kudos to the school boards, the leadership, the superintendents, all the leadership team that decided to buy an old building called the Fasco building. They used to build little motors and sold them all over the world. And when they closed down, that building remained empty for years. There was a group of people in Christian County that wanted the county to buy it. But kudos to you guys that you bought it and you've turned it into a masterpiece. And I've gone through it 3 times. I've gone through it when it really wasn't much, but you had the dream. And then I went through it middle way, and then I went to the end. And even at the end, I could see so much progress, but I thought, I don't know if Jeremy's going to make it till the end or not. I don't know if he's going to get it done before school starts, but you guys did. But what else can you talk about that blend?
But one thing that's always been important to our community in Ozark is just, just a well-rounded education. We wanted to continue the high level of expectations in our humanities, our core content area. College prep is a very important part to our community. So we did not want in any way, shape, or form to, minimize what we were doing. We wanted to enhance it through the Innovation Center. And that's why within the Innovation Center, you will not only see our career and technical education programs, but you will also see 6 science labs we built down there so that chemistry and physics can have more space to be more innovative in what they do. We also have 4 math classrooms so that, our math can teach differently. It's not confined to, just the 25 students or 30 students that are in there and the 800 square feet of the regular classroom. We wanted them to be able to tear down the walls, and they can literally open up the walls in those 3 math classrooms. And now you can combine 3 classes. Our teachers are able to teach differently, teach better to meet the students' needs. You have varying degrees of learners in any classroom. So to be able to divide 3 classrooms, with 3 educators in there is just, it's going to be a game changer for how our students learn.
Well, I tell you what, it's just extremely exciting with all the possibilities. I'm sure you are just now scratching the surface of all the possibilities. You're going to keep thinking of things, and when one thing you do, then that leads to something else. And so that's going to be great.
Lynn, we're always saying Christian County is the best.
It is the best.
But we're proving it.
Yeah, it is. I think that people who choose to live in Christian County, second fastest growing county in the state, was the first fastest growing county in the state back before 2007. And then when we had the recession, obviously that hurt the entire state and everything slowed back down. And since that time, we've moved back up to second again. I think in the next census, I think we'll be number 1 again. One of the biggest reasons, Don, why they're moving to Christian County is because of our school systems.
Yep.
We have tremendous school systems at Ozark. These gentlemen work there every day and are taking care of Ozark. But we also have, I was at the Nixa chamber lunch yesterday. We have a great system at Nixa. And my 5 grandchildren are still at Nixa. I've got 1 in college already. So she's well prepared. And she's in the healthcare system studying healthcare. I'm going to have her talk to you, though, because she's just a sophomore at OTC. And she's trying to figure out. We've got doctors and nurses and all kinds of healthcare people in our family, but she's trying to figure out what she wants to do in healthcare. I think this would, you might give her an idea too. So I think that's all good. Mentorship. I just wanted to ask real quick. Do you guys, have you ever thought about having a mentoring program from professionals and different business people out in the community that they could help small classes and one-on-one to mentor people?
So that has been a push of ours. And so recently, within the last 2 years specifically, we've really tried to combine what we're doing for the regular classroom with business partners. And so we have some marvelous partners already. We have on our website, there's ways that industry can sign up to be a partner. And partnerships for us go all the way from we'll send someone to be a guest speaker, or you can have tours in our facility, all the way to internships and to apprenticeships. And so we have the full range of partners. And the reason for that is if we're going to really get relevant about what we're teaching, then we need students to know, well, what's going on outside these four walls.
Right.
Our education has to touch the outside and bring it in. And so the best people to do that are the people involved in that process.
Very good.
This to me makes me think that the kids are excited to come to school. Have you felt that excitement?
Very excited. It has been a fast-paced start to the school year for sure. But we talked about the OIC and the square footage down there. We also still have the main high school campus, which is about 250,000 square feet, I believe, up there in that building. So we have at any given time about 1,300 in the main campus and between 450 and 500 in the OIC. And it really almost feels like two different schools when you're in them. The high schools, still the high school, but that innovation center, just the recognition from the kids of what is occurring or what is about to occur in that space, with the ability to bring in those industry partners. And that was very intentional in the design to make it open and be able to get industry and business leaders into that space for our kids to be able to see them and then be able to see what our kids were doing. So for sure, our students, especially the freshmen who are really starting to dive in as that first class into the Academy's model, a lot of excitement there for sure.
So Dr. Brownfield, so to make this clear, so all the students at the traditional high school, the original high school, they're going to rotate through your other center, the Innovation Center. So they're all going to do that. Now, while they're at the traditional school, they're probably studying some more of the traditional studies and things like this. But everyone's going to participate in so like all the freshmen are going through. And just real quick, go over. You told me you've already just started a 2-week session, and you're going to do every one of those different Academy career paths before it's over with. So what do you do first?
So every freshman will participate in Academy exploration class, and they will get a rotation through all 6 of our academies during that semester-long class. And it's important for us to get them through that before they start their scheduling process next spring as they go into their sophomore year.
Yeah.
So they can declare at that point what academy they want to tie themselves to. And it's not a long-term, they're not making that decision for the next 3 years. If they decide at the end of their sophomore year, this particular academy or pathway wasn't for me, then they're going to be able to switch. So it's important for us to give them that experience so they know what we have to offer and how it ties to their current interests and talents and how that translates to their future. But the first rotation here in our Academy Exploration, all of those freshman students enrolled in that course have had an opportunity to go to our school farm in the last 2 weeks. They've had the opportunity to interact with horses and other animals that we have out there. They've been able to kind of experience a tractor and just life on the farm. But also, it's our academy is natural resources and agriculture. So they've also got to experience that from a conservation side of things, which is also very important. So the kids have been super excited about those opportunities. And again, it shows the level of commitment from our board and the community, because they're not tied to the classroom walls during those 2 weeks. They're going out and experiencing these things.
I want to point out to the listeners today, the viewers today, something I learned, I think, on either the second or third tour that I went through the Innovation Center, something that was interested me, that so the people that's in the agricultural program and they're raising the cattle, okay? You now have a culinary program in the Innovation Center. And so you actually have you have a cafeteria in the traditional high school, and you've got one now at the Innovation Center. And those people are taking the beef, the products that you're raising, and you're actually teaching them how to prepare those when they get to where they can prepare them and have all the things that recipes and things they do, and then serve the students, right?
Right. So it kind of speaks to our growth. We now have 3 agriculture teachers, and we started when I came here 16 years ago with 1. And within their space at the school farm, they have a cooler to where they can, begin the process of slaughtering an animal and hanging it in the cooler out there at the school farm. Then they can actually bring it into one of their 3 new classrooms, which has a location to process small animals within there. So they can process, the pig or even part of a beef in there and make the various cuts in there, and then pass it along to our culinary class where they could actually experience preparing, farm to table type meals.
So I just think
Wonderful.
it just amazes me what the thought process that you guys have done.
Would you go over you have 6 different academies. Would you say what those are?
Sure. We have Health Services Academy, and you can imagine the kind of pathways that would be inside that academy. Then we also have our Industrial Engineering and Technology Academy, and through that, that's anywhere between engineering and drafting, those types of courses. Automotive would be in that. Then we have our Human Services Academy, and Human Services, you would have the culinary, like you were just speaking about, or design. We have some students who just won nationals in fabric design with the clothes they designed for this summer. They are learning how to make clothing as well. I don't want to say farm to table, but from fabric to full. They wore
body.
Yes, they wore those outfits at a banquet. So they've done a marvelous job with that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it really is. Then the Natural Resources Academy, like you were just talking through. Then we have our Business Computer Technology Academy, and then our Arts and Communication path.
Well, it's innovative, but it's vital if you really think about it. I mean, these kids, you are expected to choose a college, a career path without ever really dabbling in any of those options. And so this really lets them play on an educational level. And I think when you keep that fun, then they're going to learn more than you expect.
And that's our hope. So within our academy's model, what makes it a little different than other academies models is that our academic core and our humanities courses haven't changed. So if I'm in engineering and I am trying out engineering because my passion, I think, is that direction, and then a year into it, I think, I just tried out for the school play and this was awesome. I want to go into some kind of sound production, or I want to go into drama. Then I can switch to the Arts and Communication pathway academy and find something inside that those pathways without losing anything on my academic core, without losing anything on my humanities courses. And the good thing about Ozark is we offer 32 credits within their 4 years. Many schools only have 7 hours, and so we have 8 blocks. And so that gives every student more time to explore, more time to figure out what they want to do. And so that allows them to just change a path if they need to, but they can also be deep diving into a pathway as well as explore their other talents. And so that's really a passion of our board. We want every student to be able to use their talents for success. We want them to be success ready. And so it's around 72 to 76% of our graduates each year go on to 2 or 4 year college, some kind of training. And so we honor that, but we know that college is not for every student. And we also know that even when you go to college, it may be that you just need to do vocational, some kind of a vocational learning. And so we want to make sure that's all of those are out there on the table. And then you are a veteran. I don't want to leave out our JROTC program, who we have multiple
national champions.
Yes, national champions.
Not just
JROTC.
state champions.
Yes. And we have multiple graduates a year go on to armed services, which we are grateful for.
Yeah, a tremendous program in Ozark, Missouri, and several other high schools around the state do that too, and country. And I'm so glad for them to do that. Well, we're going to take a break. We've had a very interesting first half. We're going to have a second half, so stay tuned and keep that paper and pencil ready, because I'm going to talk about the sponsors. When we do come back, let's talk a little bit more about the academies, and then we got some more comments that we want to kind of bring out and try to make sure everybody knows what's going on. But our first sponsor, Brad Pistow, he is a certified fiduciary financial planner right in Ozark, Missouri. And the amazing thing about Brad Pistow is I was getting ready to retire, so everyone that's listening may have already heard this 100 times, but I want these gentlemen to hear it too, because I think it's important. We were in Florida, Jan and I were in Florida, and we were vacationing, and it was just about the time that we had to do something with our 401ks and the money we had accumulated that we were going to retire on, because we had sold our company and we had to eliminate the 401ks through the company. And so we had some money that we needed to invest. And so I was reading USA Today at a breakfast out someplace with Janet, and I saw this. I thought it was Brad Pistol. And so I said, well, this guy is really smart. I want to find somebody like him when we come back to be my consultant and help me with my retirement planning. And when I got back, I was eating at Sands Cafe in Ozark, and you guys know where that is. And I listened to three older men. I was talking to my friend, but these three older men just kept talking about Brad Pistow, how he can make you money in retirement. And I'm thinking, whoa, Brad Pistow, Brad Pistol. You know, and I said, I hate to admit I was eavesdropping, but is that guy here in Ozark? And they said, yes, he's the best. And so I looked him up. I went to see him, and everything else is just history now. But I mean, Brad Pistow can set you up a plan where you'll have retirement income through the rest of your life. You will not run out. And we noticed that the stock market yesterday, it crashed 1,300 points, 1.2%. And yesterday, Jan and I lost no money, zero money. And we actually earned money yesterday because of some of the interest-bearing accounts that we have, up to 6%. So when things are going really bad and fluctuating like now, just think about it, if you were wanting to retire today, and the stock market just dropped 1,300 points yesterday, it would not be a good time to retire right now. And so you always want to retire at the top of your accounts and stuff like that, which we were able to do. So Brad Pistow, you can call 417-581-9222, 417-581-9222, and Lisa or Hunter will answer the phone. They'll send you all the information. They'll send you his free books, his free books called Bulletproof and
Safe Money Matters.
Safe Money Matters and Bulletproof. And they are both #1 best-selling books on Amazon on retirement planning. And so I highly recommend him because I use him. I've seen how he reacts to us when we make phone calls and stuff like this. And I would not recommend him if I didn't know for sure that he would be a good person to trust with your retirement planning, because you do not want to lose your money. You want to have money. So great person. The second sponsor is also been on our show several times, and that's the Youngblood Motor Group. That's John Youngblood and John Whittaker. These two guys do so many great things around Southwest Missouri. They've been in business 43 plus years. The oldest family-owned car business in Southwest Missouri is the Youngblood Motor Group. They specialize in Nissan and Kia on South Campbell, and they across the street from their new dealership, new cars, is the used cars. They always have probably 150 more cars that are used cars, but they're very nice used cars, and most of them are program cars, certified cars. So when you buy a used car, you're not going to just drive it off the lot and then have to spend a lot of mechanical repairs and things like that. So I really, really like these guys. They have a great guarantee. You three probably could do this. I'm probably not very good at it, but you actually don't have to go to the dealer. It's going to be kind of hot today. You don't have to go to the dealer today. If you wanted to trade your car and buy a car, do it online. You never have to talk to somebody real live, and you're going to go online. You're going to make your trade. You're going to pick your car. They're going to deliver your car, and you have a 72-hour guarantee. So you're going to put it's going to deliver it to the driveway. It's amazing. And then you're going to put your wife in the car, and you're going to put the kids in the back and a dog back in the trunk area, and you're going to kind of experiment with the car. Drive it around the block. Drive it to the grocery store. Whatever you need to do. After 72 hours, if you don't like that car, call them back up and they'll bring you a different car. But I mean, it's so easy to buy a car from them. And so we really like those guys. And then our third sponsor is a local guy from Ozark, works in Ozark. And Louis Michael is a guest host. So when Don or I are not here, Louis Michael usually fills in. And this guy is an Elvis impersonator. He won the first prize. 250 people competed in Nashville, Tennessee after Elvis died, and he won. Louis Michael was the Elvis impersonator winner, and he actually travels around the country, used to a lot, performing, opening acts for many, many big stars. Today, he has a nonprofit called Choosing to Live. He told his story on our show about how he had depression. He had depression when he was growing up in Springfield, Missouri, and he almost took his life. He had the gun cocked, and it was loaded. All you had to do is pull the trigger. He was within a second of dying when he felt a call from God and saved his life. Now he goes around wanting to tell other people how important their life is. Everybody has a purpose. And right there in Ozark, Missouri, Choosing to Live, Don and I have helped him on many fundraisers because he helps so many other people. And
he has part of the Elvis family on his board of directors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's just a cool deal. But here's the thing. So he's a realtor for the firm in Ozark, Missouri, and that's a great Parham family business. And it's Sheila, and I'm going to not remember all their names, but several of the Parham family members and other great realtors work for the firm. And so when Louis Michael sells a home or you buy a home or, from Louis Michael, he's going to do a block party for you. So he'll bring and sing his Elvis songs, and you can get to know all your neighbors and just be the most popular person on the block because you're going to have this cool party.
But when you're watching the show today and you're hearing about this and you want to look up Ozark and you want to look up the schools, consider Louis Michael and the firm because people are wanting and they are rapidly moving to Ozark.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of reasons, and like we said a while ago, schools are part of them. There's just lots of reasons why Christian County is a great place to live.
You want to give that phone number for?
Oh yeah, we want to do that. Usually Louis just gives his own number out, but no, it's 417-988-1086. 417-988-1086. And just let them know all those sponsors, they are so important to what we're trying to do. And so let them know that you guys heard us talking about them on our show. For example, guys, this is we're proud of this studio. This is very elementary. compared to the studio that I worked in for 7.5 years up in Brownfield, Missouri, with a radio station that's very powerful, and they have quite a bit of money that they can make things look very nice. But we want a phone system. We want a phone system because I could just realize that with the interesting information, vital information you're talking about today, I bet there's somebody out there that'd like to call in and ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we don't have that system, but that's what we're saving our money for. And that's what our sponsorships are. So we've got room for 2 more sponsors, and I think we'll make another announcement here pretty soon this fall. So we'll have 4 sponsors, but slowly but surely we're going to get that done, and you're going to see never anything real fancy, but just something that we can communicate better with. So that's our sponsors. So.
Well, I have quite a few friends right now that are living in Ozark, and it's quite the conundrum because they can't move out of Ozark because of the school system. Because once they're planted there, they're like, no way would I take my kid out of Ozark schools. And I'm sure you guys hear this. And there's a reason for it, because you guys are leading the way, this innovative center. Not only that, but I think you've attracted just phenomenal teachers, phenomenal staff. Everybody cares, and they really want to see these kids launch and spread their wings and all of that. But on the feedback that I've got, Ozark is just where it's at right now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, certainly is. And so my job as the new presiding commissioner come January is to make sure that we continue to make our county even better. We know that every decision that we make is not just a 1 or 2 year decision. We know it's generational. We know that everything that we do today with a fast growing population that we're going to continue to experience in Christian County is extremely important, the decisions we make. So we make them long lasting decisions, and sometimes that's a little bit harder, but I think it's extremely worth it. And we're excited. My new team, because I'll have a replacement for me, and then with Western Commissioner Hosey Blue, I'm excited about our team actually having better partnerships out there with all aspects of the county. And so we're excited about that.
Well, I would tell you on Monday, we had our first meeting for the year, for this school year. Monthly, all 7 school districts in Christian County get together, their superintendents and then assistant superintendents, others, they get together and we meet once a month. So we make sure that what's available for Ozark students can also be available for a Sparta student if they don't have those opportunities. And so we try to share as many resources as we can, and we try to share the best ideas with each other. So we're making sure that all of Christian County has the opportunities that our Ozark students have, or that Nixa students have, or Sparta or Billings.
Well, Dr. Carson, I'm glad you said that, because I knew that. I'd heard that you guys do collaborate and you work together, because in Christian County, a lot of people that's watching in today have no idea, but we have, besides the 2 large schools at Ozark and Nixa, tremendous schools. But then, also I'm extremely proud as the state representative last 8 years in Eastern Christian County. I'm extremely proud of our little schools like Sparta and Chadwick
And Clever.
And Billings, Highlandville, Spokane. I mean, you start naming all these schools. These schools are improving every year. They're serving their populations. In most cases, they're not going down. They are increasing too.
Right.
So they've got more and more students too. They don't necessarily always have the resources that you guys have, but they're extremely doing well. I mean, I know Chadwick has been a gold ribbon school, blue ribbon school, ribbon school, and Clever is they're just growing like crazy now. And homes going up everywhere. Billings is getting ready to have some of their first subdivisions being built over, maybe in 40 years. So they're all excited. People are beginning to mark all these properties over there and survey all the properties and get them all ready to start building all these homes. So honestly, it's just exciting times to be in Christian County.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Carson, going back to something you said before the break, I really liked what you guys are doing by not boxing people in on these academies.
Mm-hmm.
I try to tell people it's kind of hard to be an entrepreneur or an author or anything that's in the creative world, but you don't want to shut that down. You want to find something that feeds it. And so if you get a job that is in either medical or engineering or something like that, you can have this other side because humans are multifaceted people, and you're letting them, I see this, I would be signing up for the creative media. And then I'd probably be over here in the conservation pathway, and then I would still stick over here in my medical. So I can see the value of what you guys are allowing them to dip in and explore those.
That was an important mindset for us from the get-go, to allow students to cross over into those various pathways. And then it became intentional in the design of the building. We have a video studio in there, and there are 2 roll-up garage doors in the studio. And we have an automotive tech program that's at the Career Center down by the river. And, our thought was, what if a student who's in automotive wants to do a how-to video on how to repair a car? He can actually pull a car all the way into the interior of this building, drive it into the video studio, and film a how-to on how to do something on an automobile in a video studio with the support of, the other students in that space. So, we recognize that our students have multiple interests and multiple pathways, and wanted them to have that opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's awesome. Don would be an example, healthcare professional, owning her own creative consulting business, and at the same time published your first book in December of last year. And I know that's not your last book that you're going to write. I know that. And I'm working on my first book still. I'm still about maybe 2/3 of the way done now. And so I'm just a slow learner, slow writer, I guess. But, eventually I might get that book done. And then maybe I could write another book too. But I like it. I like the fact that, I'm thinking about myself when I was in high school at Parkview just a few years ago. I had great teachers, but we didn't have any programs like you guys. Okay. I would really, if I could, go back and go through that again. I loved school. Miss Keller, my 3rd grade teacher, she actually was the starter of your innovation center. You guys just don't know it, because she gave us a little book called From New York Life, and it had occupations from A to Z that a 3rd grader could read. And then you're supposed to take that home to your parents, and your parents read it with you. And then you were supposed to pick out the profession that you wanted to be when you grew up, because people always ask you back then, what are you going to be when you grow up? Okay, all the time. And then you had to pick out the second choice. I picked out pharmacist. I am a pharmacist. And I picked out soil and water conservation because I love working outside and with plants and things like that, forestry and things. And I found that as my hobby. So I had my koi garden, my waterfalls, when I had my lake house, I had it all with Missouri native plants. I had it all landscaped. So I had to do all this landscaping, never could get out on the lake. No, I found some time. But that today I would take, like Don, I would take several academies.
Well, think about David Harrison.
We've had him on.
Yeah, he's written 120 books, and he started out in sciences, and then he moved it over into writing about sciences.
Right.
And this is what you're developing in these kids.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And part of each academy and the pathway is at the end of that is a capstone project, and that could be. It's really dependent upon what the students' interests are and where they want to go with that. So they could be, in the natural resources and ag, academy, and could produce some sort of, whether it be book or information, to help with conservation or just as a public service. So
now, did the community come behind you guys? Do you have any sponsors or anybody that helped you guys bring this out that you guys want to acknowledge?
Yeah.
Well, we have several business partners already who have signed on to either help supply us with equipment or experiences for students. One of which is Cox Health, the Health Sciences Academy. We have about a 3,000 square foot space there where we have Cox donated an X-ray machine, a surgical setup. There's some lab equipment on the way, some pharmacy equipment on the way. So they've done we've been partnered with them on our instructor. because we're not going a traditional CNA route. We were struggling to find the right person for that health sciences program. And, we were fortunate that Cox came along and said, hey, we want to be part of this. Let us help you find the instructor. And we actually share that position with Cox Health, as they're not only a Cox Health employee, but also an Ozark employee. So it's just a great experience for our students to get to learn from a practicing professional every day.
You know what? I'll donate my time if you need it for pharmacy design and to help get the pharmacy started. I've started a few pharmacies, so
Excellent.
So I
love it.
I'll donate my time to do that.
I'll write you down for sure.
Yeah, I'll do it, and I bet you Dawn would help in her area
Sure.
too.
Well,
And-
so another good example of partnerships is Ozark Bank.
Yeah, I was going to
So
say that.
Ozark Bank's been in our community
Sure.
for over 100 years,
Right.
and they have partnered with us. So not this year, but starting next year, so we're in year 1 of Academy. So as we move into that 2, 3, and 4, they are going to allow us to have a classroom inside the Ozark Bank branch that's right beside the Innovation Center. And so as we teach students inside that branch, then they can put their skills to use right outside. And so they will be able to work as tellers and then advance as they get more towards that capstone. And so they're learning financial literacy in a whole new way.
Wow.
And they're applying those skills right into personal banking.
Wow, that's amazing. Also, you've got a great partnership with Ozarks Technical College. We've had Cliff Davis on, about a couple of weeks ago, and talking about all the things that they're doing. And so you guys have got a relationship going on with them to kind of tap into some of the things they're doing for your students. And then what about that? There's still somebody in part of the old FASCO building, and they have defense contracts, and they're doing some pretty sophisticated things, and your students could be involved. Some of them can be involved in that, can't they?
They have agreed to allow us to, and it hasn't started yet at the beginning of the year, but they are allowing us to have students inside their space and to be able to learn alongside as they create these wiring harnesses that are going to be in Black Hawk helicopters.
So extremely important.
Right.
Extremely
Absolutely.
important. And our students in Ozark are going to get, some of them are going to get, and you know what? Some of them may become employees of that operation. They may get inspired and get trained. And so what an awesome opportunity that is.
Right. At the end of each one of our pathways, we want the capstone. We want students to have a market value asset. We want them to leave our doors with, we've called it diploma and for several years. We want them to have an Ozark diploma and that next step into whatever they want to go into. So that may be college credit. It could be internship hours. It could be an industry recognized credential. So if I'm in the automotive program, then I can leave with my ASC certification. We want students to be able to move into whatever's next to do what we talked about before the show. We want, if they know where they're headed or they know where they're not going to head, they're going to save themselves time, money, energy, effort, and their parents. They're going to save them time and money and effort. So they know what those next steps are. And we pre-K-12 are working on implementing a portrait of a graduate. And that portrait of a graduate, we got all of our community, as you asked about how our community is supporting us, we had all our community come together, and over a period of about a year, we created, here are the things, here are the attributes, the dispositions, the knowledge that our graduates should look like in 2020s.
Wow.
And so as we created that, we're now looking PK-12, how do we make sure we are purposefully teaching students to be resilient? How are we teaching them grit so they can finish a book, even though it's taken them a little bit longer?
Yeah, I should have taken that course. I should have taken that course. Hey, real quick, how do people get a hold to find out more information? Can they go online and find out? They could be in Kentucky or Kansas or wherever, and so this is a great program. How do they find out more information?
They can go to the website, and on About Us is a link to our Academy's program. Also on October 14th, I believe at 3 p.m., we're having a ribbon cutting for those who are are local, and we will have tours leading up to that 3 p.m. ribbon cutting. So it'll be an opportunity for people to come in and see what's going on at Ozark.
Yeah. And so they go
ozarktigers.org.
ozarktigers.org, all small letters, and just people look it up, find out more information, and share that with your educators wherever you live. And I'm telling you, we've got the diamond in the rough right here. This is a tremendous program, and I think it's going to really help students because so many students graduate from high school and don't know what they want to do. We'll be back next Wednesday with another great program. Thank you guys for being here today.
Yes, thank you.
Extremely valuable information, and thank you for what you do for our kids. They're our future.
1,
They are.
2, 3. Can I get a hoorah from a patriot like me? Can I get a